Starting this podcast was an unexpected step of obedience of something that God has called me to do. Through this podcast, I will be interviewing ordinary people who have seen and experienced God move in extraordinary ways throughout their lives. I pray that this will build your faith and encourage you to testify of God's goodness in your everyday lives.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Testify of God's Goodness podcast. I have here with me my friend Tatiana and Matt, so it's really exciting. We have not gotten to see each other at least for a year, probably not since Fair Time last year. So it was really cool to get to catch up a little bit this morning on life, and we're kind of at similar stages right now. So what year did you guys get married?
2018.
2018.
Yeah.
Okay, we got married in 2019, at the beginning of 2019, and then you guys just had your third.
We did.
We have our third on the way, so it's cool. But although our stories are similar in some ways, like there are a lot of differences too because of different things that we've walked through.
Yeah.
So just tell me about yourself. So your work or callings in life, your family, and then anything else that you'd like to share.
Yeah, sure. My husband is United States Marine Corps, and he is getting out. So we just moved back to Ohio, where his family's from. We just bought a house on 5 acres, and we've jumped right into homesteading.
That's so fun.
With 18 chickens and 2 pigs. Our girls are loving running wild and free on the property.
Yes, I'm sure.
I'm a mom of 3, and that's definitely one of my callings, is that I just want to be a good mom. Mm-hmm. I know that my children are the only thing that's going to outlive me in this world, and is going to be my mark for generations to come. So I want to make sure that I invest into that fully.
Yeah, that's so good. And that's so true. And tell me the ages of your kids.
My oldest is 4. And then I have a 2-year-old, and our youngest is 7 weeks.
Yes. So you had a big transition. So you said you all moved in, March?
Yeah.
And then you had the baby in May.
Yes.
So that
she's
is
born Cinco de Mayo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. That'll be fun celebrating. Okay, so what is your testimony? So when you saw your need for Christ as your Savior, when you accepted Christ, and then the transformation that came from that.
I think I'm not the only one, but very similarly to some, I accepted Christ at a very young age. Mm-hmm. I was baptized at, I think, 6 years old, and my parents brought me to church soon after I was born, so I was raised in the church, and I've never not known that community, and never not known Christ and his work in my life.
That's awesome. That's such a blessing, too. Yeah. I know that's similar. I have not known a day when I wasn't in church, so that is a blessing. But then, like we talked about before, there was times where I strayed away. I still had that desire, and I wanted that relationship with the Lord, but that was not my priority in life. So it is a blessing to have that background, and that's hopefully what we're providing for our kids too. Madeline, she knows God. Well, Madeline and Aiden both, they'll sing worship songs, and they know God and love God. And so 2 of my nephews got baptized probably about a month ago, and then another nephew, he's getting baptized this upcoming week. So it's cool to see the transformation. And my sister-in-law was like, do you think Madeline would want to? And I was like, I'm going to let her, we've explained it to her, and she believes. And I was like, but she's 4 too. So I'm like, if she gets baptized now, she won't have memory of it. She may not. She may, but she may not. So we're whenever she wants to proclaim her faith in that way, we're very excited for her. And That's awesome. It is a blessing, because we know, unfortunately, we can't shield our kids from the trouble that they're going to go through. But to have them have the hope of Christ and a firm foundation and a firm community around them too.
Raise them up in the way they should go.
Yes, because unfortunately one day they're not going to want to hear just from us, in their teenage years and stuff, and even before that. So I've been praying already for my kids that they have somebody to disciple them, to pour into them.
Good mentors.
All through their years,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what part of your story do you feel led to share today?
Just about my journey through pregnancy and becoming a mother was not easy.
Not saying it lightly, like
Yeah.
having a very hard time.
Yeah. So during pregnancy, I struggle from what's called hyperemesis gravidarum, and it is extreme vomiting during pregnancy. So my pregnancies are strewn with hospitalization and just a lot of medical intervention, which I'm not someone who seeks out medical intervention, so it just makes it that much harder. But throughout that, there has been, God has just had his hand in it, and he has protected me and my children. When we found out we were pregnant with our first, we were not planning on that, we'll just say. Yeah. And we were at a time where my husband was just getting out of grad school. He was going into the military. We were between insurance. Neither of us had a job because we just thought we were, making space for the next thing. And within a month, God had provided both of us jobs and housing, which came in really, really handy when I started vomiting, because I didn't know that was going to be, I thought, maybe just some morning sickness. But then whenever, it started, I was put on a medication called Zofran. And after losing, I think, 15 pounds with the first, and then getting put on Zofran, that helped. Okay. But being able to just move next to my parents and having their support, as well as having my husband in between jobs, he being there to support me, that really helped. And then my husband's Marine Corps, and we are currently stationed in Yuma, Arizona, and he's getting out. We're moving back, like I said. But when we got to Yuma, we had 10 days to find housing. And one of the things that I'd say, moving around, one of the first things that you need to do to try to find community and support is go to a church. Yeah. And you can church hunt for sure. Yeah. Funny enough, the day we found the church we wanted to go to, we had been to, that was our third service of the day. We went to the first service of one church, and then another church had like a mid-morning service, and then this was our...
Y'all were serious about the church.
Yeah.
We were like... guys, though, to take it so serious.
Yeah. And of course, as we were going through churches, we were just asking people, hey, do you know of any good rentals? Do you know of any good places to stay? And somebody said that they had a room available. And so we ended up renting a room from her. Her husband was Army, and he was deployed at the time. Okay. And so it was her and her 3 girls. She has 4 now, but it was 3 at the time. Wow. And we were renting a room from them. We were there for a week when we found out that I was pregnant with our second child. And then a week after that was when I started vomiting. And just having her there for the support. Unfortunately, my husband had to go to training in 29 Palms. And with the condition that I was in at the time, I was not able to go with him. And so me and our daughter, who was 18 months our oldest, who was 18 months at the time, stayed with they're called the Manos family. And she went from being a stranger to being just a really Christ-given anchor in that time. She took my daughter in as one of her own, because with these pregnancies, I was completely bedridden. I couldn't keep anything down, and I was on IV fluids and hydration. I ended up having to have a PICC line put into my arm so that I could get proper hydration, because I couldn't keep water down. And I was on multiple different anti-nausea medications that she helped me take, because some of them went through the IV, and I could do most of it, but I couldn't do what connected to my arm. And so she was helping me, and even the people, like nurses that we found at the hospital. I remember one of the other friends that we made from church, the Rice family. She took me I was in triage at the hospital 4 times just for getting fluids. I would go in for getting IV infusions, and then I'd go home. I'd feel good for maybe 3 days, and then I was back to throwing everything up. And more so than that, just like the toll that vomiting takes on you.
Oh, it's awful. Yeah. Like even getting sick once, I'm like a baby about it. And so like for it to be over and over again, like I can't even fathom.
Yeah. She took me the last time, and they were about to discharge me again because they just, same thing. Like they brought me in, gave me fluids, gave me a cracker, waited 30 minutes to see if I could keep it down, and then they sent me home again. And she was the one, they were about to send me home, and she said, I'm not taking her home until you weigh her and do blood work.
Yeah.
And when they did my blood work and saw that my potassium was so dangerously low that
I'm sure
it could affect my heart, they ended up keeping me there for almost close to a week, and that's when I got the PICC line.
Okay.
So that was...
Good for her for pushing
yes,
that.
just having... And then that's when, you know... through those moments, you learn how important it is to have an advocate there for you.
Yeah.
When you're in the hospital, and just having her there to advocate for me when, of course, my husband, he would have loved to have been there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he...
Because how long? It wasn't like a week training. It was, how long? You said 8?
It was 8 months, yeah. Oh my gosh. So...
Yeah,
and
the whole pregnancy.
Yes. And so he would come back on weekends, but he wasn't able to stay for during the week. And Shelby Manos, the one that we lived with, she had her parents watching my daughter along with her kids, and she was working. Wow. And I just... to have somebody who would just jump in and serve you in that way when they have their own things that they're going through really showed me that she and her just willingness to step out and be Christ to me and my family really just showed me that there's no excuse not to be Christ to somebody else.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, because she had every excuse not to be. I mean, she also was handling her husband being on deployment, and she was working and getting her kids to school, and you know, and she still just called friends and sought help and did whatever she could to really help our family. And
that's so awesome.
And honestly, that's something I'd never be able to repay. And just learning from that and trying to pay it forward to others.
Yeah, that's a challenge for all of us to like not only pray. I mean, there's so much power in prayer, first of all. So like I was just talking with the girls last night, and like, so we were talking about how can we show grace and mercy to others, or like share Christ's love with others, and even doing something simple like listening to them and saying like, would you like me to pray for you? And then like praying with them on the spot. So not only doing that, but then like taking a step further and saying like, is there anything physically that I can do to help out? Like whether that's picking you up some groceries or watching your kid for a few hours, you know, or if they don't have kids, like you name it, there's so many different ways that we can serve people. And then we can also, when people offer that, I'm not always great at this, but like accepting the help too, because I was talking with some friends, because usually like after, when it comes to having kids, like your first one, everybody's like there wanting to meet the baby, wanting to help out, bringing meals. And then it kind of trickles off a little bit after that. Not like 100%, but it trickles out a lot more. And they're like, oh, you got to figure it out. But after having the first, like, Dakota went right back to work as soon as we got out of the NICU with Aiden. And so I like had to figure out you're not even supposed to lift your toddler at that point, and like I'd have somebody here like once a week to help out with stuff.
Don't lift your toddler, but here's your 10-pound baby and their 15-pound car seat, you know?
Yeah, and then like our laundry's downstairs and I'm not supposed to be carrying that up, and I break some rules. I took it easier on myself for it after having Aiden than I did with Madeline, because Madeline, we moved into our house when she was a month old. And so I had to pack up all of our other house right after I got out of the hospital, which like I just lifted way too much and put too much pressure. And then like I was unloading the house, and I paid for it, not letting my body heal how it was supposed to. But yeah, there's just a lot of things that we don't think of. And I know like even like the meals, like providing dinner or something, like that's super, super helpful.
So helpful.
There's a lot of little ways that like you can serve.
Helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love getting the meals afterwards because I love getting recipes from different people.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Because they always want to bring, such good homemade
Yes, usually
meals.
their specialty.
Yes. They bring their specialty, and then I always message them, what is the recipe for this?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I add it to my repertoire.
Yeah, I love that.
Just learning from her, being the hands and feet, you know, because we can be the spiritual church where we fellowship with one another, we pray for one another, but we can also just really be the physical hands and feet of Christ.
100%.
Yeah. And service to one another. And just learning, there's really no excuse. And she, she helped me through all of that. When I finally was well enough, I went to 29 Palms with my husband, and when I was well enough to actually take care of myself and take care of the kids, but it was still a long time. I remember it was, even after the vomiting subsided, still just having the energy even to shower myself. Like I remember taking months after, taking a chair into the shower, or even just like the little things. Like I remember when I was in the hospital and I was there for a week, there was a nurse. Of course, I had been bedridden for 2 months at this point, and I had not, it's going to sound really gross, but I had not washed my hair very well. It was pretty much up in a bun the entire time.
Yeah.
So when I finally got there and they gave me some really good nausea medication, and I felt like I have maybe an hour that I can actually go take a shower. I went to take a shower, but I went to brush my hair, and it was pretty much all matted. And at that point, I'm thinking, I've got, another couple months of this, and then I'm going to have 2 kids. I'm like, you know what? I told my husband, I was like, ask for a pair of scissors and just cut it. I was like, I just don't. And this nurse happened to be rounding on me at the time, and she said, okay, hold on. Let me see if I can help. Because my husband was trying to brush it, like, God bless him. He just could not,
Well, with the curls, it's a lot different.
Yeah. And so she said, let me go see if I can find something. She comes back with, like, a tub of conditioner and a comb and a brush. And she sat there for over an hour brushing my hair out to get it back to, and then she braided it. And just even those little things, I will never forget. That's awesome. She went above and beyond in her job to do that for me. And she didn't have to.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's no way she could have realized what that moment meant to me.
Yeah.
And also just, it pushed me because I couldn't do anything for myself. I'm not typically, the type of person that, I'm kind of fiercely independent, almost to a fault, I guess. Yeah. And people helping me, I don't usually accept very well. Do you remember Corey Friend in college?
Yeah.
I remember riding with him and being hungry, and he offered me a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah.
And I said, oh no, thank you, I'm good. And he said to me, why don't you just allow me the joy of helping you?
That's so true.
And
it is a joy for others.
Yes. Why don't you allow me the joy of helping you? And that stuck with me throughout this whole process. With our third child, I still had hyperemesis. I ended up going through what's called IV therapy. So I pretty much had an IV line, and once a day I would take a bag of IV fluids. And then I was also getting some anti-nausea medication through the IV. Okay. But I had to go in once a week.